Oh, what's up? So we're gonna get right up in it. Governor Kemp had something to say today about the two gentlemen that shot the African American man while he was out jogging. Well, I'm just gonna roll the audio.
As many of you know, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation officially became involved in the case on the evening of Tuesday, May the 5th. Less than 2 days later, on Thursday, May the 7th, Gregory and Travis McMichael were arrested for felony murder and aggravated assault of Ahmaud Arbery. Both men are currently jailed in Glenn County.
So this has been something that's been in the news for a while. You know, a lot of people were disturbed by this. As a person that sees everything through the middle, I mean, I'm a person of color, or technically African American male, but you know, so many people are so sensitive when it comes to race. But I am a person who sees everything right down the middle. And personally, I don't know what happened. I was not there. I don't know if the men were picking on him. I don't know if it was a self-defense matter. I don't know. But what I do know is the part that I saw was terrible. It seems like this man was being chased up the street. This man did not want to comply to a regular civilian that was not law enforcement. And technically, I would have did the same thing. I'm running, man. I'm not trying to get in shape. I'm running. I'm exercising. You know, who in their right mind would actually stop and talk to somebody in the gym if they were trying to get a workout on and somebody just comes up to them? You know what I mean? Like, you are there for a purpose. He's running. My opinion on that. Do I believe they need to be jailed? If that's the same thing that I saw is actually what happened, yeah, I do think they need to be jailed. But at the same time, like I said, I see everything right down the middle. I was not there. You know, I don't know the full story. It did not pick up in the beginning. And so therefore, it's hard to understand what actually happened. You know, you don't know what happened beforehand. You don't know. You know, the video picks up right when they're approaching the guy. And you don't see anything but the struggle exchange. So to say these gentlemen are going to be in jail for a while, I don't know. You know, it seems like it's right down the middle. It can go either way. If this young man was, you know, just running and just trying to be in shape and he was, you know, gunned down on racism, then this is a hate crime. These people should not be able to be out of jail. You know, it's funny that we still struggle with racism in today. I mean, and when you think about it, you know, it's really no excuse for it other than ignorance. Whether it's black people hating on a white person, whether it's white people hating on a black person, white people or black people hating on Hispanics, Asians hating on Americans. Some of these things that President Trump is saying, and I like President Trump. You know, he does good for me. That's the bracket that I'm in. You know, but some of these undertones that he uses, like I know you guys saw, you know, the thing that happened the other day with the Chinese lady, you know, where, you know, he just basically played on, you know, her ethnicity, so to speak, because she was an Asian American, you know, and he played on that fact, you know, and I think there were a lot of racial undertones, including in that. And I'm pretty sure if you see it right down the middle, you would agree. Please keep in mind, this is an Asian American, okay? This is not a foreign person who does not have citizenship here. This is an American that is being addressed here by our president, who represents the United States of America, who should be a total representation of what we stand for. Just take that into consideration. And who's ever representing the United States should have a stance of everything that we embody: peace, loyalty, togetherness, standing up for one another, the American dream, all men are created equal. Like, this is what our president should be communicating with every time he touches the mic, touches the podium. And he does this because people support it. As I said again, I like President Trump. No issues with me. He's done a lot for me during his presidency. So, why would I hate? He's working for me. But those are the things that, can't happen. You got to call things down the middle. It doesn't matter if somebody's helping you. Wrong is wrong and right is right. If one of my relatives says a racial slur or says something that's racially involved or something that's racially offensive, I'm going to check them. I have to. If you don't say anything, you're just as bad of a problem as the person that said whatever was said. So, understand that. It doesn't matter, if you support somebody or not. I love my family members. If somebody says a racial slur or a racial undertone, there's a problem. So check out the clip.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition?
So the question that she's asking is basically, America's doing better. Like, that's what the president has said. America's doing better than any other country as far as addressing COVID-19, or as far as, working and being aligned with the processes or the procedures. Man, listen, that's cool. We still have a virus that's eating people up and still killing people. We still have not been able to go back to normal living, and our economy is still failing right now. Those are the obvious points, right? She just asked, right, if all of this is going on, why is it a situation where we're saying we're the best? We're the best at minimalizing deaths. We're the best at not as many people dying here. Like, it's still an L for everybody, and everybody should be on one accord. It does not have to be a competition. A lot of times, Trump is in competition. Like, even with Barack Obama, he posted some stuff the other day like, Barack is always wrong. Man, Barack is not in the office. Barack is not even taking a political stand at this point. Why are you worried about Barack? Like, you're the president of the United States. You should be focusing on the coronavirus. You should be focusing on re-election. You should be focusing on everything to do to get back in office. And as a person who definitely benefited from President Trump, I'm disappointed, because that's what you should be worrying about. You should be worrying about getting back in office to help me out. If not, then you're losing, and you are losing points with the people that actually are not racist, that actually are straight up. You're losing points with these people because of these racial undertones, and because of the stuff that you're, using, you're offending people. Check out the rest.
To you, if everyday Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China.
So she asked, why are you competing with other nations when everybody is losing people every day? Everybody is struggling. Just as I said, everybody with this disease is having a setback. Why are we in so much competition? His response is totally racist. It had nothing to do with what she asked. This man's response is, why don't you ask China? And she's a Chinese American. Why don't you ask China? That has nothing to do with us being in competition. He did not even have to answer that way, because you didn't answer the question at all. Check it out.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
So then another reporter comes in, she definitely has the lady's back. Like, this lady is just saying everybody's dying around the world. He then comments and says, yes, everybody is dying around the world. That's what she's saying. Like, what are you talking about? What? That doesn't make any sense. You pointed out what the lady said again. Everybody is dying around the world. That's what she just said. So why are we in competition? That's what she just asked. You just pointed out what she said and then said, ask China. You might get another answer or a very interesting answer. Donald? President Trump? Jeez. Control your emotions. You were like the kid that had the ball and his parents called him home, and so he breaks up the whole game by taking his ball because he has to go home rather than letting people use it and then he get it tomorrow. That's bully tactics. Like, how do we preach non-bullying in school if our leader is operating in bully tactics? Like, that's crazy. So she recognizes that this is racism and she calls him out on it. Sir, why are you saying that to me? And she should have asked that.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question.
He said he's not saying that specifically to anybody. What are you talking about? You just asked her to ask China. You're making my head hurt. What are you talking about? Huh? So he acts like he didn't just ask her specifically and addresses it all to the American people, but the American people didn't ask the question. One person did, and you addressed that person. And now you're backtracking. Crazy. Come on, President.
Question
That's
like
not
that.
a nasty
Please
question.
go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please.
One thing I notice about President Trump is anytime he's challenged, he bullies. Anytime someone articulates an argument or someone brings up a discussion, he pushes. Like with the other reporter. He told the other reporter, the man that asked him something, he just totally belittled him in front of everybody. Now this lady, you know, he's pushing her out the way. Now watch what he does when the other lady comes to her defense, the reporter.
Go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But you pointed to me. I have two questions.
This lady said, I have two questions after he pointed to her. And immediately he says, not you. And shuts her down after he brought her to the mic.
Mr.
Next,
President.
next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond.
What? She didn't respond. What are you talking about? You asked her, did she have a question? She says, yes, I have two questions. And she starts to go into her questions. You shut her down. She points out that you pointed to her. You said, yes, I did, but you didn't respond. But she was... What are you doing? What are you doing? Man, please, bro. Nobody else sees this, huh? Nobody. I rock with Trump. As an African American male, sometimes I get scrutiny over it. Why? Because the world is on some stupid stuff. If you were black, African American, you were supposed to hate Trump. Okay. The money I get to save say I should like Trump. However, I don't like these tactics because I'm not racist.
And now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the
wanted
young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish.
Okay.
But can I ask you
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So he realizes that the other lady works for the same news station or the same paper that, you know, the first lady worked for, and immediately he cuts her off. And then he blames it on something else. And then when she wants to proceed to ask the question, he cuts off the whole interview and says thank you and walks off. Takes his ball and goes home. We are a representation of what's right. You know, there's a little kid somewhere looking at this and thinking that this is leadership, and it's not. You know, anybody that has to strong arm, get angry when asked a question, or has to get mad and throw their weight around, that's a symbol of a weak individual. You know, the strongest people are able to keep their poise and just talk. The weakest people blow up and go all irate. And they think that it shows power, but it actually shows weakness. Because the person that's able to understand what's at stake, to consider everybody rather than themselves, that's a real powerful person. A lot of people try to lead out of fear. But the thing is that you're not scaring anybody. Like, we've seen Corona. We've seen 9/11. You know, we've seen things like that's way scarier than what you're talking about. So what you have to understand is, like, you have to find a way to connect with the people. You have to act in the same manner that you're going to act in November when it's time to pick you. Because in November, you'll be acting really nice when people have questions. So, you know, be the person that you supposed to be all the time. We always don't get it right, though. You know, there's been times where I've yelled where I shouldn't have yelled. There's been times where I've gotten out of pocket where I shouldn't have got out of pocket. And I understand that, you know. But make an effort to not go after somebody. Make an effort. Make an effort to improve your communication skills. I mean, as the president of the United States, you have to communicate better. And I think he'll figure it out. You know, I think that this is a time where he's stressed out. A lot of things are on his plate that, you know, he was not prepared for, and everybody's looking for an answer for a person that does not have one. Even with the CDC and Fauci, him going at it with him, you know, that's kind of tough too. You don't really have the leadership that you need because you all can't see eye to eye, and so, you know, everybody's looking at you for an answer, and there's none to be given to them. So, you know, I know that's frustrating. Also leading a nation, that has to be frustrating too. You know, everybody's looking at you. Anything you do or do not do is criticized. You know, at some point you have to be the person that you are, right? And you can't act a certain way for a camera, right? So, you know, I understand this frustration. With all that being said, make sure that you like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. That's a big one. Because every time we drop a video, you'll be ready for it. Also, remember, we still have that $25 gift card to Outback. Make sure y'all sign up for that. In order to be put in that, basically all you have to do is leave a comment on the video so that we know you watched it all the way to the end. And basically off your comment, we're going to see who our loyal fans are. We're going to pick and select one lucky fan to actually get this gift card. So, I mean, $25 at Outback, man. Go get you a steak, bro. It is what it is. Thank y'all for riding with the pack, man. There's just some insight, you know. I'll holla at y'all.